Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anyone out there listening?
Yeah, this is from Kay on iTunes. This is my favorite podcast of all time, and I've truly run the gamut of podcasts. Weirdly enough, you all have opened my eyes to the need for my husband and I to have a nightly talk after putting our kids to bed. It has helped our relationship so much. You each are hilarious, and I am so glad to have found you all.
Oh, that's so nice.
Isn't that very sweet?
I feel like that's funny because I feel like lately after we put the kids to bed, we just zombie our bodies to our bed and then both get lost on different devices for a while.
Yeah.
And then come together and watch something. But
we don't speak.
We definitely don't speak. But I'm really glad that that is helping. What was her name? Kay?
Yeah, Kay.
Wow.
You remembered something from 20 seconds earlier.
Oh, you should talk.
Well,
you definitely wouldn't have remembered that.
That's true.
Thank you, Kay. Great.
I had another little review that has a question that I had no idea what the question is that I thought I would share and see if you know. This is from Vicky in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Great.
Arkansas.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on Oxford commas? Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
You do?
It's a punctuation mark.
I thought that could be it. At first, I didn't know if this was like a typo, and I started Googling Oxford, and it came up commas, like tons of different things. And then so I was like, oh, this is a thing. I bet Elizabeth knows what this is. I have no idea what it is, and also have no idea why someone from Little Rock would be asking us what we thought of it.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know why they're asking us either, but maybe just asking to ask. I don't use Oxford commas, so apparently, and I didn't know this, I just had to look it up, and I am a writer by trade. So it's the comma that comes before and when you're listing something. So I like croissants, bread, comma, and cupcakes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the newer version, the new wave of grammar is you don't put a comma before that and I don't.
You think that's the new wave and not the opposite? Because I feel like in school we learned you didn't need the comma.
Oh, no, I don't think most people use the Oxford comma.
So the Oxford comma is if you use it with the and.
Similar to like double spaces after periods.
That's a real hard one for me to kick. And I know it really dates me.
It really does,
like,
Andy.
Really does.
Oh, yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. It makes you look like a boomer. Nothing against boomers. I don't actually know what age boomers are.
Why is there memes about the Oxford comma? What would an Oxford comma meme be?
What if this is like a huge TikTok thing that's happening?
No, I think it must be. Okay, wait. Why I still use the Oxford comma? We might need to do more research on this.
Okay. I don't think
you know what? Let us just say this now. Maybe we'll chime in next episode about Oxford commas, because I think if we just leave it here, we're going to get a wrath of comments, because I don't know
that we will. Hey, by the way,
I think there's something happening.
Speaking of wrath of comments, not that this was a wrath. Listen, comment away. It's free speech. Go for it. Someone did say, please tip people in the service industry as a comment. And
fuck you.
No, No, we are 100. I'd hate for any takeaway from our tipping commentary to be that we don't encourage people to tip. We always tip. You will not see a less than 20% tip if we are at a restaurant or something from these kids.
Yeah.
Andy tips so much that he's on the VIP list at our local Chinese restaurant.
I resent you saying that, because you saying that is like that the only reason I'm on VIP is because of my extravagant tips. Where it is so much more layered and nuanced than that. And it has so much to do with my vibes. And
I don't think so.
Okay. You try going in there and just shelling out a 30% tip and see what happens for you, okay?
Okay.
Do you want to pick up our next? I'm gonna have. I can't just be like one meal because that would never get you status. How about you try to pick up our next 4 meals and do big tips and see what happens?
No, I'm okay.
And why?
You know
and
what?
why? And why? Wouldn't it feel good if you actually got the VIP status? How good would that feel? How good would it feel?
Well, it would, but I don't. I don't feel like going to get it.
It's because you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't. I think in your heart of hearts, if you knew you could also get VIP status at the Chinese restaurant, you would take on this challenge with gusto. But you know in your heart that you wouldn't, and that price to pay would be so horrendous.
Do you think that they maybe think you're someone else, like your Netflix's magician darling Justin Willman?
No, but I do think there's a possibility that about once or twice a year, I do look like someone famous because I do have these weird days where everybody's looking at me. Do you know what I mean? And it's so novel, like it only happens once or twice a year. And I don't think it's just my vibes.
It used to be Spidey, like back when Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man in New York, people would yell out, "Hey, Spidey," to you.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that was back in your smoking days. You were like skinny and scrawny and more Spider-Man-ish, I guess. Anyway, well, hey, if you want to support our show, patreon.com/nobody's listening right is where it's at. You get a bonus episode every month. We let loose in a new kind of way on those bonus episodes, and it's very fun.
It is true.
And we often do live streams, and, it's a great
way.
way.
Do a Zoom coming up.
If you want to, like, have more direct line to us for whatever reason, compliments, issues, beefs, Patreon's the place to be. So,
speaking of Tobey, though,
yeah,
if you're listening, we'd love to know what you're up to these days. Been a while. Haven't seen him in a minute.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Where is he?
Where is he? You know what? He could primed for a crazy comeback. Now's your moment. Now,
well, I'm
the
almost
right
like,
project.
Should I make something for him?
He didn't get like.
No, I don't think so. He's happily married. I know he has kids. So, I think things are good. I really admire that. Like, you did it. You blew up.
Mm-hmm. You're best friends with Leo.
You married a really nice jewelry designer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's her deal?
She designs jewelry.
Is it cool stuff, though?
I think so. I want to believe so.
Okay.
And you're living your best life. Okay. We have a lot to cover. One thing I just wanted to say very quickly, and you're not going to believe this. I hope it's okay. My dear friend Pam, love her. Mm-hmm. We discussed how I said she's kind of queen of food, the food industry.
They're not together anymore, sorry. After some big soul searching.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Tobey?
And Jennifer? Yeah.
What happened?
After some much soul searching and consideration, we've made the decision to separate as a couple. First priority remains our children and with enduring love, respect, and friendship.
When was that?
2020.
A year that I think illuminated a lot of situations that were not tenable. Andy, my friend Pam, we were talking about fig Newtons. A little update. We bought both fig and strawberry Newtons. And
yeah. You haven't tried the strawberry yet.
I don't need to. They're not good.
You didn't like the fig. But that's why I want you to have the strawberry, because I know you're going to go like, oh, yeah, this is better than the fig.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Thanks. But turns out, Elizabeth, after all the praise she had for fig Newtons, it was just like a misaligned nostalgic memory you had.
Well, I do wonder. I'm sure there are things like that for you, where in your mind it's a certain way, and then you bite into it and you're like, oh. But there are other things like the Entenmann's, the chocolate glazed donuts. Mm-hmm. Those I remember accurately as being really waxy and kind of gross, but I still like them. Uh-huh. Fig Newtons, I had a totally different memory of what they were all about. But anyway, Pam, my friend, listens. She's a nobody.
Oh, hell yeah.
And she said her first brand she worked on, along with Nilla wafers, was none other than Fig Newton.
What?
Can you fucking believe that?
Does she have any insight?
She worked on a portfolio of a bunch of small brands that they called adult cookies.
That's right. That's right.
So
Had Nilla wafers graduated to adult cookies?
I think so. Now, here's where things get a little dicey because I just said I don't like them, and I know I was shitting on the marketing team behind Fig Newton.
Were you shitting on Pam?
Maybe, because she says, I worked on the rebrand of just...
Fucking way.
I'm so sorry.
No fucking way.
I worked on the rebrand of Just Fig Newtons with other fruits too, which you don't like. Ha ha ha.
See, oh, hey, Pam, I love the other fruits. Absolutely love. And I think, if anything, that breathed?
Yeah.
That breathed some life back into the Newton for a minute. But let's be honest, this was an adult cookie that, as we learned, has been around for more than 100 years. And I think the odds were stacked against...
Okay, speaking of odds, just what are the odds of me bringing up the branding of a specific adult cookie and not even knowing that one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world had to do with that? Wild.
It's one of the most absurd things I've ever heard. Did you actually apologize, though?
No, I actually, to be honest, I don't think I fully processed all of it until just this moment.
Okay.
Okay, so...
is there anything you want to say right now?
Well, first of all, Pam is the fucking boss. Like,
yeah.
she's like, you know, she was born a CEO. I feel like she came out of her mom's vagina with, like, heels and a statement necklace. The first time I met her was in an elevator in New York City, and I remember the moment I laid eyes upon her. I mean, that's another thing. I don't have a lot of memories like that. I have like kind of vague vibe memories of times.
Yeah.
But to remember, I mean, I have this for you. Obviously, it was a big moment. But to remember randomly, this woman steps into this elevator, girl, really. We were young girl. We were 22, 23. Knowing, so she was part of a friend group and we were all about to embark on our own version of Sex and the City in New York, which mostly meant us sitting in Pam's basement apartment, Pam and Aaron's apartment, watching Sex and the City and eating like Chinese takeout. But Pam walked in and she was just ready to take on the world. Heels, perfect outfit, like everything in place.
Yeah.
Confident, amazing necklace. And I just was like, who is this? I'm there in my hoodie and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, she has done very, very well for herself in the world of food.
Yeah.
And she continues to. Now, I wanted to talk. I have a few things I want to talk about.
What is going on with you? This is weird.
Well, I'm a little out of it.
Oh, do you want to address that?
No. I'm just kind of like, I'm under the weather. I got the thing that my kids had, and I'm feeling
patient
poopy.
zero for.
Yeah, so.
I haven't got it yet.
It's called fifth disease, and by the way, someone rightfully pointed out, it's not good for pregnant women to get it. Pretty much everyone else who gets it, just you work through it, and it's fine.
I hope I haven't been around any pregnant women.
I can't fathom why you would be. You're not going to, like, Lamaze class. What if that was your kink?
How so?
I don't even know. Do people still do Lamaze?
Yeah, or something similar, right?
Yeah, but like...
I'd have to have like a... How would I go? How would I go? Without being... Like, how would I go? How could I legitimately go to a Lamaze class?
Oh, I see. You really gotta have a pregnant person. Well, no, you know, there are Lamaze... I think that the partners also need to know how to coach and stuff. I'm sure there are classes.
I would need to go with a pregnant woman that maybe didn't
on
have...
Craigslist or something?
That didn't have someone to help with Lamaze and was like looking for someone. That's a big commitment.
You also could be a Lamaze teacher.
Now you're talking.
So this is something that I've been thinking a lot about because I know I've shat on like male OBGYNs and men in kind of spaces that I don't quite understand why you're there, but like you're there, so that's great. I'm sure there are all sorts of reasons that
Like secretaries.
I'm sure there are all sorts of reasons that men would want to become an OBGYN that don't have to do with, I mean, you know, if anything, I'm like, would it turn you off from like a sexual fetish or kink?
I think what you're saying is it's not outside of the realm of possibility that, let's call him Johnny, is in med school, right? Maybe it starts way before med school. Maybe it's in biology class, sophomore year of high school. And they get to the vagina and Johnny's legitimately like, this is the craziest, coolest part of the body I've ever seen. And the reproductive system is amazing.
Yeah.
And Johnny's like genuinely like, I want to dedicate my life to this.
As you're saying it, I'm also like, it also means bringing babies into the world, which is a pretty fucking incredible thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of walking back my whole thing about all of it, but there is a thing about men, like, for example, a male Lamaze teacher. How come? And I'm sure there are many who like have great reasons, but there got to be a lot that are just there for some weird, like kinky, weird thing.
That's a really interesting, specific one. Male Lamaze coach. But it definitely existed. There definitely were some.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we will not get into this right now because on our last Patreon episode, we went pretty deep into a documentary we watched called Sperm World.
Oh,
And
yes.
it's about the like
underground sperm marketplace on Facebook
of
where
people getting pregnant with people's sperm that they find the people on Facebook.
you basically go, hey, I'm ovulating. I'm in Tucson. Like, can you meet up with me? And a lot of these guys don't even get paid. Some of them do. But they basically like meet up in a parking lot. The guy jerks off. That's one of the ways. But
Right.
there are other ways. There are other ways too that are very interesting.
And we go into depth on the most recent Patreon. But this sort of reminds me of it that like we were kind of talking about those guys' motivation. And it's like, I don't know. I'm guessing a bunch of you, this is like a weird thing for. Similar if you were a male Lamaze coach.
Well, okay, I don't want to get into that documentary, but one thing I didn't ask you specifically that I do want to ask you.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting. I think a lot of those guys have hero complexes that are like wild. You know, they want to like populate the world and
Yeah.
they feel so good. You know, it is nice that a lot of these guys are providing sperm for LGBTQ community or things like that.
Yeah.
But I also think that a lot of them are sex addicts, and this is a weird kind of loophole into being able to masturbate. I don't know. The third thing, there was a scene in this movie, and not the most interesting or shocking scene by a mile,
Yeah.
but a guy who is one of the sperm donors that they're following gets a call. Now, his girlfriend, fiance, they're also trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
They're supposed to go on a date that night.
Yeah.
But he gets a call last minute and he's like, I got to do this. And the fiance is kind of annoyed, understandably.
Yeah, she want to go to a movie or dinner or whatever.
And now my question is, was that guy getting paid? Because if it's a job he's getting paid for, that's one thing. If he's just being like, no, I'm putting all of these other random people before my fiance, that's even shittier.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they meet up in a parking lot. He's jerking off in the car.
Mm-hmm.
His fiance's sitting right next to him, but he has his phone up looking at porn.
Mm.
That struck me as odd.
Did it strike you as odd? Okay, what's the other scenario that would have been less odd for you? I don't know if it's ethical for the girlfriend to be like jerking him off or getting like
For like cleanliness reasons?
yeah, because aren't you like washing your Very
He's
good
driving. I didn't
questions.
see nary a what's that called? Latex glove in sight.
But listen, okay, the girlfriend's already annoyed that they have to do this pit stop, right?
Yeah,
They were
she's not.
she is not to then ask, "Hey, can you pull your breasts out or something?" No. What? Are you
But
crazy?
but also he's just looking at porn in front of her. I don't know.
He's got to do what he's got to do to help these people.
Can he not do it without looking at porn?
I would guess that if you're to that point where you're doing this all that often and you're in a fucking parking lot sitting in
Like
the
an
driver's
overflow
seat
part.
of your
Yeah.
car
Mhm.
and your girlfriend's annoyed with you because you had to make this pit stop and the people are just you can see them in bird's view, use whatever you need to use, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. I'm glad we cleared that up for me.
Okay.
Speaking of st- I don't. This all feels relevant in a
Mhm.
really gross way, but something came up recently, and I mentioned child marriage.
Oh yeah.
Now, shocking.
Uh-huh.
Child marriage is still very much a thing in the United States
How?
because our country is a trash bin. I mean, I really think I said this. I feel more and more that all the judges across the land are like misogynist pedophiles. I
Mm.
feel like I think we were talking about someone getting time for having abused a woman or something like that, and how it's like that's the time you got for
Yeah.
sexual violence or for whatever. Now there are many really good people out there trying to change laws and stuff.
Just not any judges.
Well, between 2000 and 2015, there were 200,000 minors married in the United States.
Okay, whoa. That's a big number. What is a minor?
Okay, yes, I knew we would want to get into this because obviously there's a huge difference between an 18-year-old marrying another 18-year-old
Sure.
versus. Okay, most of the minors were girls, obviously. Children as young as 12 were granted marriage licenses in Alaska, Louisiana, and South Carolina. Can you?
What?
So this is a pedophile loophole. These are granted by judges. 13-year-olds were given the green light to marry in Alabama, Florida, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Washington.
What?
Yeah. They're children.
How?
Children.
Like, what's the you walk into like what is it? I want to know one circumstance where a judge is like, yes, granted. It seems absurd.
Doesn't it? I mean, it's
Yeah.
something that unless you're reading it on pbs.org, you're not believing it. But yes, I mean, now the vast majority were 18 to 20-year-olds. That's 60%.
Okay.
There were not tons of 12 and 13-year-old kids getting married off. But Missouri, of course,
Yeah.
our beloved come from state, is like kind of a haven for 15-year-olds, and they'll travel from all over the country.
Okay.
Not 15, I mean, more of like the predators who are marrying 15-year-olds.
Because you can marry
Bringing them
15-year-olds
there is pretty lax there. It's known as like in 2010, a 17-year-old girl married a 65-year-old man in Idaho.
Ugh.
So these are changing. There are advocates who are changing. Now, what I was horrified to see is that California is one of the states where there's no minimum age,
Okay.
which was shocking to me because you would think, California would, but maybe that's also like, I don't know. Anyway, it's horrible. So scary. And it's totally a pedophilia loophole.
Well,
It's a statutory rape loophole.
did they give any context in this article about any examples of this or even how it is that loophole and how people have abused it and whatnot? Do they go into that at all?
Laws in 9 states allow minors to marry before the age of 16 with the judge's approval if the bride is pregnant. When a pregnancy is involved, parental consent is not always necessary. So this is like totally a rape loophole. It's so gross.
Whoa, that is crazy.
Ugh, anyway, really upsetting. There is a advocacy group called Unchained at Last that is working very hard to outlaw marriage before the age of 18. And I had heard of this before even like doing this deep dive, Unchained at Last. So if anyone is looking to support changing these barbaric, insane laws. But reading this, I'm like, sometimes even I feel this way where I feel like I put blinders on in regards to how bad women have it across the land. You know, obviously in places like Iran, they have it horrific. It's a whole different situation.
Sure.
But I also sometimes feel like men, you know, can be like, yeah, sure, there's inequity, but like, really, is there? Hearing that someone, oh, I remember what it was. It was the Jared Fogle documentary. Someone can rape 14 young, you know, minor girls and only get 15 years of jail.
Right.
And someone can marry a 12-year-old because she's presumably pregnant from rape or whatever. Really kind of drives home again how shitty it is for women and how like it feels like so many odds are stacked against us. I obviously am in a place of privilege and don't feel that as intensely, but it's, you know, it's a very real thing in our country. And as our rights are getting stripped away from us systematically, it seems right now, just something to know, you know,
Yeah.
yikes. Okay.
Fun stuff. Have you heard about this Oxford comma or something?
Okay. My friend told me something that blew my mind.
Okay.
This is in regards to parenting.
Okay.
And I wish I had known this earlier in my parenting journey. And I feel like this keeps happening with parenting where something is illuminating. I think that parenting comes with so much guilt and like on worry from my end. Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Am I saying the right thing? Am I fucking them up? Like, will they talk about this specific moment in therapy later? Probably. You and I have talked a lot about how we can't possibly know what the thing is that they're going to talk
Yeah.
about us in
Yeah.
therapy, but know that they will.
Absolutely.
But my friend was telling me there was she didn't know what source it was, so take this all with a big grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently there was an article that her husband came across and gave her a lot of relief because she has younger kids right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that dopamine, men,
Mm-hmm.
typically fathers, get a dopamine hit from playing with their kids,
Okay.
whereas women don't as much.
Oh.
And women get a dopamine hit from nurturing, cuddling, caring for when they're sick.
Mm.
And that clicked for me because I have had a lot of guilt about I have never loved the like get down on the floor playing. I mean, I've had moments I've loved, of course, and I love my kids more than anything. But it was never like, ooh, I can't wait to do that. The way I've seen you be like, I'm excited to go play with them.
Yeah.
For me, it was always like, this is enriching their lives, so I'm doing this thing. But it's not like, ooh, I can't wait.
Right.
To be honest, oftentimes, especially when they were little, I found it pretty boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Which is funny because I grew up doing like improv as an adult and getting wacky and making animal sounds on the floor. But it just wasn't for me. And this kind of explains why. It's like a chemical scientific thing.
Interesting. That is wild.
And I love nurturing them.
You
I mean,
do.
snuggling with them,
Yeah.
loving on them. I do think like I take good care of them when they're sick.
Yeah.
You know, I try to.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm like in it with them, getting it, dealing with it 2 weeks after, you know.
Yeah.
How come you didn't get fifth disease?
I
You
guess
just
I'm
weren't.
next in line.
Oh, you think that's the case?
Maybe. Or I think
Or I
it
was
does
just
seem
more
like
up in their
it can
grill.
take up to 2 weeks to get it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That's funny about what you're saying, because like yesterday we went to go play. You were going to do a big walk, and we went somewhere where there's a huge field.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so stoked to go because I had my new Nerf Vortex, which one of my favorite toys from growing up. And so I'm like, I'm going to bring the Vortex.
That is fun.
Right? It's
Yeah,
really
the
fun.
Vortex is fun.
I'm going to bring the Vortex. I'm going to bring a regular Nerf football. I'm going to bring a real football. And I'm going to bring the little Frisbee. And we're going to all take turns to see which ball goes the farthest.
Oh, that's fun.
And I thought they would be so down because it's like a little science and a little this. They didn't. They could give a shit. And then it was like, well, let's just play with the Vortex. Didn't want to do that. Well, then let's play with this soccer ball for a little bit. One of them doesn't want to do that. And I was like, did I bring too many balls? Did I bring too many choices?
Oh,
We're in
yeah.
a huge field. It's a beautiful day. I just want to play.
Uh-huh.
And their attitude was crap. But then when you did show up, things turned around
Yeah, I
a
was
little
gonna
bit.
say it seemed fun once I got there.
So then I was like, well, what's my problem? Why was it not fun when I was trying to get all these different things going? It was frustrating.
That is so frustrating. That is frustrating.
Any thoughts? I'm like, was I bringing too much of my emotion and agenda? But I'm like, let's just play. They're so picky about what to play. Just play. Let's play something.
I think that it's that, and I don't know if other people's kids do this. And I don't know what this is. I don't remember being this way at all. But I've seen it. It's not just our kids. I've seen their peers. They love to make it their own thing. Like whatever the rules are, they want to change it to make their own rules.
Yeah.
And in fact, yesterday, by the way, we love our kids more than anything.
Yeah.
And we love hanging out with them. They're so much fun. I feel like I have to caveat right now. We did this. There was this TikTok trend where you paint your partner. Like you both have canvases in front of you and you paint each other and you don't see it till the very end. And then you reveal the painting. And on TikTok, it's very funny because oftentimes one partner's painting is pretty good and the other is like horrific.
Yeah.
So we did that, the four of us yesterday. The kids were painting each other and you and I were painting each other.
Yeah.
I was really excited to do this. It ended up being very fun, I thought. But when on our way home from the park, and we had already said, like, you guys' attitude needs to shift.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you know what? The day's going to turn around. We're going to go home, have lunch. We have this fun art activity we're doing. Like, also, by the way, you and I are being super parents yesterday. We had a whole fun day catered to them planned.
Yeah.
The things start coming, well, I don't want to paint a person. I don't want to paint this. I'm going to do it my way. What if I want to paint blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, the rules are we're painting each other. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But if like you're going to do it, you're painting the other person.
Yeah.
Well, what if we all get to pick who we're painting and we don't say it till the end? No, because then not everyone's getting painted.
Yep.
It's like all of this. Why does it need to be negotiated into different versions of what the rules are? And this is
it's for everything.
For everything. For all games, for everything.
We'll play handball, which is so fun that they're playing at school, I guess. But there's a gazillion different rules. There is a classic mode. And I'm always like, can we just play classic? Yeah, we can do classic, but only if we have earthquakes too and this. And I'm like, no, I just want to play classic. And the other crazy thing with kids these days, okay?
Yes.
When I was little.
Wait, hang on just a second.
Yeah.
I just had a flash of them in therapy going, they never let us like explore our own, how we wanted to do things or get creative with things. It was always rules, rules, rules. You know.
No,
okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Their shit's going to be much deeper.
In my day.
Yeah.
Okay. I took it for granted that any physical activity or artistic endeavor that my father, let's just use my father, let's take a sporting type thing, would be better at it than me. Okay. Just assumed that this man
the
that was 40 years older than me might be more skilled at kicking a ball, throwing a baseball, doing basketball. Okay. Okay. When I was a little tyke, I just knew that the adults around
and kind of knew it and had more
might
practice
know the
doing
rules
it.
about it, might know about it, might know the history of it. Our kids, and I know it's this generation, like seem to be amazed when I'm better at them than at every single thing. Where
Well-
it's like, what did you expect? And then it's like they seem deflated. But I'm like, you think you could throw the vortex as far as I can?
Yes, right.
What? I don't understand. Is it something we did, or
I
is it something
introduced this
in
to
this
you.
generation? I don't understand it.
It drives me crazy too, like hula hooping or something. Now, I
That's a weird example because you think you could go toe to toe with anyone in our family hula hooping?
Andy. Well, if I had the right hula hoop, yeah. But it's less toe to toe. It's less me doing it and the kids being like, you can do that? Because that is anytime you or I do something with some level of skill or know-how, they're like, how did you what?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
You're better than me at this?
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll tell me about things and I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's
I
funny.
invented hula hooping. Like, like, well, if you move your hip, they like to teach me how to do things. And I'm like, no fucking shit. I had a hula hooping birthday party when I was 9.
Now, do you think it's because I will say, me more than you, I'm not a big, like, this is how you do it parent. Like, let me know if this resonates. Just the classic, like, we'll be at a park or something and you'll see the parent, like, really being like, no, this is how you do it. Or you're like, just that kind of classic story. I would say I don't do that as much just as a parent that compared to most parents. So I'm like, is that part of it? I don't think you do it tremendously, but you definitely do it more than me.
Our kids are resistant to that, first of all.
They're like, what the fuck do these guys know? How did we end up in this situation?
I have no idea.
This is what I want to know. Is it literally our kids or is it like this generation?
By the way, having said all of that, I really love the confidence. Like,
well, yeah, that's
and I
something
don't
to be
want
said
to
for that.
squash that at all. I
Yeah.
like, there's so many positives that come out of this, which is why I don't say things like, yeah, no shit, to my kid. I'm like,
Right.
I'll be like, oh, I hula hooped back in my day or whatever it is. So I don't want to squash their confidence. I don't, yesterday at the field, one of our kids kept telling you to go back further and to throw the vortex. And you were like 7 times as far as our kid could possibly throw it. And I was like, the confidence on this kid is wonderful. And I want them to maintain that.
Confidence is king.
Confidence is king.
Or queen.
Or queen. Yes. We've been watching Mediterranean Life a lot.
Yeah. Which is like House Hunters International, like.
On the Mediterranean.
Yeah, it almost seems like someone, they might have had a falling out and like this production team went rogue and decided to do their own show.
Oh, well, I don't know if you know. There's Hawaii Life. There's like all different lives.
How many other lives
on
besides
Hulu.
Hawaii Life and Mediterranean Life?
There are Island Life. There's like, and one of our kids is stoked. This is their new favorite show, which is mine too. So I'm very excited about it. I love the idea of just picking up, like saying goodbye to all of it. I mean, it's kind of what I did when I moved to New York, and it's what we did when we moved here.
I don't think so. This is a bigger thing. These are people usually with family, really selling everything, and they talk about just having backpacks or a couple pieces of luggage and going, starting a new life in the
Mediterranean.
The Med. So Club Med means Club Mediterranean?
Yeah. Yes.
Yet. Hold on. Yet Club Med, I think of more of like the
Bahamas?
yeah.
Oh.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Maybe it started over there
Mm-hmm.
and then it became a brand institution
Mm-hmm.
in the luxury travel. And then they went,
So anyway,
thanks for entertaining that.
well, I don't
guess
know
there's
where
not
to
much
go
more.
from
Yeah,
there.
I just want to.
neither
No,
of us
you know, it's
know.
like I wanted you to have the answer.
Well, do you want me to look it up? Does Club Med stand for Mediterranean? Pretty easy.
That's great.
Oh, Club Méditerranée was a French travel and tourism operator headquartered in Paris.
Okay.
Yeah.
When do you think VRBO switched to Verbo?
I don't know, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay,
either. I
so
think it's
I want to keep going.
yeah, I get that. Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Sorry. So we've been watching this, and my first of all, you and I gotta watch ourselves. We are so critical when we watch these things.
Oh, I know. Well, now our kids are critical of the people on these shows.
People going into these places, which, by the way, I so admire all of it. And honestly, I have like fantasies of doing something like that, just selling the farm and moving out somewhere and starting a whole new identity.
Yeah.
But sometimes they walk into these places and it's like, they're like, ooh, this is really, what a nice bathroom. And you're like, it's a hole in the ground.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
nice about it?
Yeah.
And so you and I are doing our little commentary, almost like not realizing the kids are watching
Yeah,
it. And our
yeah.
kids are even like, be nice.
Yeah.
But there was one episode, and I'm going to regret this, but I want to say
Just don't out.
the episode.
Don't give too many details.
Okay.
'Cause we don't. I would hate for that person to hear this.
Well, my heart goes out to them. And
It was just a person. Okay.
it was a person
There you go.
who clearly they were and they had a
Careful.
well, I'm gonna risk it because it's so specific. They had like a tick where they were saying, ooh,
Stop it.
ooh, every other word. And I really liked their positivity, first of all. It's a very positive way to move around the world. But being someone who's been on screen and done YouTube videos.
Oh, you've been on screen? Oh, wow. What screen have you been on?
I mean, like, I don't know why you said that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, like, in videos and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I've been interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
We do lots of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact, and our nobodies are probably screaming, yes, you say like a million times, or you say XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
And it is painful when you listen back to something and go, oh my God, I say that. So it's my tick I have,
Sure.
kind of. And my heart went out to this person because I knew that they'd be so excited to watch this episode. But it was to the degree that one of our kids was counting how many times it was said. And just thinking, hey, everyone, we're having a screening. Our Mediterranean life episode.
You sound like a monster.
Our Mediterranean life episode is happening.
You're giving too
We're
many
gonna-
details.
What? I'm just saying. By the way, I'm rooting for this person and these people. It was just one of those things that you're like, ooh, I know that this is going to be tough for them to see on the B-side. Because I know they're not aware of it. You piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
You're
Elizabeth,
totally
we have
wrong.
gotten in trouble for this exact kind of
You're
thing
leaving me?
multiple times, okay? I'm not participating. I think it's a bad idea. We have learned our lesson so many times, and now you're going to learn your lesson again. I might have to bleep the name of the show.
Hey,
Yeah.
maybe instead of it was ooh.
Great. Yeah, give me that soundbite so I have it.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Well, let's see. Oh, I found something that you don't like about me
Oh,
physically, which was
what are you talking about?
a revelation. This is the first time I've ever seen you actually go, ugh, which I honestly, I appreciate it because I have often wondered if you see me in a certain light that is like so different from how all other people see me.
Mm.
Not that I should care what anyone thinks except for you, or even, I mean, we're all just bags of cells walking around for this short time on the ocean. So anyway, our child noticed recently that my hands, the tops of my hands can get very veiny. And like I have really thin skin on the tops of my hands. You can see my like finger bones on the tops of my hands.
Oh, yeah, it's disgusting.
But I can do this magic trick with my hands, which is when I put them up and all the blood rushes out of them, the tops of my hands are smooth. I mean, you can see the bones a little bit, but there are no veins to be found. They look, They look 45 years younger.
And then you pull them down.
And then when I put them down very quickly, and the veins become like bulging.
Well, it was just
an old person.
It's just a gnarly trick. It's just like crazy how staggeringly different it is. That's the reason I was like, oh.
But I do think I have particularly like the skin on top of my hands is pretty thin.
Paper thin, they call that. Mine are really dry. I got to get some lotion on these hands.
And, you know, my mom had hands like this. Like, I remember looking at her.
Yeah.
But I noted how grossed out you were by the whole thing.
I'm not grossed out by your hands at all. It's more that trick you were doing. You know, I was thinking.
Would you let me, if you were a sperm donor.
Yeah.
And we were in that situation.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll give you a hand job.
Okay.
Let me get these veins popping.
Like you wanted to get them popping first?
Well, they would be.
Oh, you're just saying you do an HJ. You're not saying there would be any deliberate vein preparation of your hands.
Well, would you want that?
Well, that's very different. No, I wouldn't. You know what I was thinking, which is so unfair? You may have like put on fancy lingerie recently maybe for me, maybe not for me. But I was thinking like, it's kind of unfair that like, you know, or maybe you don't know, but now you probably do know that like you could probably get me to do anything by just putting on that fancy lingerie. Okay. There's no equivalent for me at all. Like, is there, and I'm not talking, it doesn't have to be physical. Is there any sort of equivalent of anything I could do? I realize there's no sort of outfit or physical thing that would make you drop what you were doing. Like, is there just anything that is tit for tat for that?
The thing, I've thought about this recently too, because...
Give me the cheat codes.
Well, I don't think it's the same. It's not the same. But the thing that, having read that book, Come As You Are, it is...
Yeah.
It is really important for me to be able to get turned on, to feel like as low stress as possible.
Okay.
So lately, I think our kind of new system of me going off in the mornings and doing my thing, and you've got it all covered, and then I've got the kind of evening shift, if you will, of the kids.
Yeah.
That's helpful, but like you kind of taking care of everything, or like having the house super clean without me asking, those sorts of things, like lightening my load in a way that helps me feel de-stressed.
Yeah.
You're so annoyed by this.
Well, no, it's
and I'm not saying this just to, you're asking. I'm like.
No, I know, but you're not. Keep going. I have follow-up questions. Keep going.
I think that's just it. First of all, feeling appreciated for what I do, which I do most of the time, feel mostly appreciated, And then, yeah, like you taking kind of control of our lives in a way that makes my plate feel lighter. So it's different because it's not like I'm immediately turned on in that second, but it's kind of creating a relaxed vibe for me. It's not the answer you're looking for.
No. But that's like that's not a single actionable thing. That's like a paradigm shift, sort of. But it's not like, but you know what I'm saying. You can literally open a drawer and be like, I'm going to put this on, and this person will do anything for me.
I like how you're pointing. You know what is kind of a surefire thing for me?
Okay.
Is like if going to a nice hotel. If you needed to feel that way, I feel like if you booked like Ojai Valley Inn and we're like, we're going there, you can be guaranteed, that's going to lead to sex. But I don't think there is an equivalent where I'm like, I can get you to do literally anything.
But I wonder if there is couples out there where the guy does have the cheat code. That for some reason, like, let's say I was like a firefighter and like I put on the firefighter pants and just suspenders. You were like, oh, I can't ever resist.
Oh, I'm sure that exists. I mean, everyone has different sexual dynamics, but I don't think you'd want that sexual. I mean, I guess the grass is always greener. Would you want the sexual dynamic where I'm like the chaser, like I'm always the one who is like, it's never enough?
No. But I'm saying I would like the cheat code. Listen, I don't want to have to put the firefighter pants on with the suspenders and like, it's an ordeal. I'm not going to do that all the time. I'm just going to do that every once in a while, right? It's not like, this isn't like, I'm not abusing this because there's part of it that it makes me feel like a little cheap or like
But what are you making me do? That's the other thing. You say that I can open a drawer and get you to do anything. I mean, this is a power I kind of am just now recognizing that I have. What am I going to cash in for that?
Well, what do you want? No, I think I was saying like you can make me do anything just to prove to make the point.
Right.
I'm talking more like if we're talking about just like in the bedroom stuff, like if I ever walked in and you were wearing some particular outfit, you would know that you could get busy in the bedroom with me. I mean, that's like the simplest form of all of this, right?
Yeah.
But I was just trying to make a point, like, you can make me do anything.
Well, I should hope so. What if I put that on and you were like, nah? I mean, that would be a sad state of affairs for me.
So you just know all about this power.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that would be a very different dynamic than we have. If I were to put on lingerie, which, by the way, I mean, I've done it like once in the last decade, you came in and were like, I'm good. Thanks.
No, but the point I'm making is, like, there could be anything going on in our lives. It could be like, holy shit, like, the bathtub is overflowing, the pipe broke, something that just happened to us recently, and you were like, just give it a few minutes.
God.
I would be like,
well, that's foolish.
Okay. I know, but I would be clouded brain. Like,
okay, got it.
Do you know what I mean? If I was ever to put on the thing, even if it was firefighter pants, and you came in, you'd be like, yeah, no, sorry. Right?
Yeah.
Where I just have to deal with that because I'm like, yeah, that's how it
right.
is. That's how it is. Where you would be devastated if you had the equivalent of the firefighter pants thing on. And I was like, yeah, no.
You know, if we're talking about power dynamics, I definitely have like the sexual power.
Okay.
You, though, have a power that you don't even realize. And actually, it's been the
Tell me.
source of a lot of tension in our relationship
Oh.
over the years.
Uh-huh.
I care way more about your opinion on things. Like, you can sway me. You can say something so subtly about something, and I'm like, oh, he doesn't like that. Well, then I really value your opinion and things that I honestly shouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
if you give me notes on a script, those carry so much more weight than like someone who is incredibly,
Oh, that's silly.
but it's true.
Huh.
I really respect your opinion and value it
Yeah.
in a way that it doesn't go the other way. And that's a specific kind of power.
Okay. I guess I can.
It's, you know what, inherent in the power is that the power haver like almost doesn't care about it. Like, I don't really care about having the lingerie power, and you don't really care that much about having the opinion power.
Right.
I wonder if that changed, if it would change everything, you know. But I like where things are. I don't want to rock the boat too much.
Okay.
So, okay.
Life's unfair is all.
Yeah. Child marriages.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.